Today's postcard is from one of the great British cities. We're talking about the city of Glasgow. Don, what was it that made Glasgow so great?
I suppose it really was a combination of factors that in the 18th century there was the city already was a seat of learning. We had access to major mineral resources, and the combination of those meant that the iron and steel trade blossomed. And in the back of the iron and steel trade and a very powerful merchant class, the whole business of shipbuilding, heavy engineering, locomotive engineering, all of that took place. And it was really that wealth that I suppose gave the city a kind of title of the engine house of the world. And it was the energy and the wealth generated by that that gave us the fabulous Victorian city we have today.
Well, when you look around you in this square, there's great reformers, the great and the good. This very, very impressive cenotaph. On the other side, I noticed that His Majesty's forces serving overseas, 8 million, of which this city raised 200,000. Tremendous pride even when going to war. I know it was jingoistic in those days, but there was a pride, and there's a civic pride here, which only a few cities in Britain I could actually number that have the same energy. You know,
well, I think you're right, Russell. I mean, one of the great strengths of the city is its people. They're very confident. They're very optimistic. They're possibly a little bit bullish and in your face, but that's part of the dynamic. It's part of the buzz that's very much part of a Celtic city. And Glasgow's probably the greatest Celtic city in the world.
So when we get to Queen Victoria, which of course eventually we always do, when the the world was coloured a pinkish red, the British Empire was at its height. What was happening here?
Well, I suppose what was happening here was that the great statesmen of the Victorian era were prepared to build buildings like this. And they did that because this was the second city of the empire at this time. And they were saying to the rest of the world, just look how wealthy we are. Look how confident we are. We're a city that stands head and shoulders above everyone else. And we want to develop a city that will show to the world just exactly how powerful we are.
And once we leave the Victorians behind, and of course we now have this legacy, this great city hall. I mean, look at it. It's just so fantastic, the carvings, and inside the marble and everything else. What then begins to happen as we enter the next century? Is there a change afoot?
Oh, I think there's been a substantial change. I mean, all that wonderful energy and wealth that was created by engineering and shipbuilding lasted when there was engineering and shipbuilding. Now, after the Second World War, in fact, even between the wars, most of that was dying away because other countries in the world were taking over shipbuilding. Air travel had taken up in a big way. Its time had come and gone. And what the city then did, way back in the early 60s, was to say, we will move the city forward on the basis of service, business, confidence, and we've done that so successfully. And it's the sort of thing that other cities are copying now. But to have taken that decision in the early 60s when this city was a black, dirty, full of industrial legacy, it was a very bold decision indeed, and it's paid dividends because now we're the second largest retailer in the UK, the fourth largest office centre, 3 major universities in the city alone. I mean, the city is a dynamic, buzzing place, and that energy that was born in the Victorian era with craftsmen, artisan, has been brought right through, which is why, again, we're a design capital in the UK. So all of that wonderful heritage we've taken with us, and we've used it as a building block to move us forward into the next millennium. And it's working very well for us just now.
It's a very interesting point you've made there, you see, because if you say to some people, not all, that we're going to Glasgow, they either grimace or they go, oh, you've got a bit of a surprise coming there, because of course you don't associate Glasgow so readily with culture, architecture and art. People immediately think of, shall we say, the other city, which I know is what you call Edinburgh.
I've heard of it, yes.
But they do think that, and so therefore, is there a change of image here? Are you putting out a new identity for Glasgow too?
Oh, absolutely, and I think that started probably in 1984 when we did the Mr. Happy campaign, and then 1988 we had the most successful garden festival in the UK, and again, people who might otherwise not have come to the city came for that, but when they were there, they took time out, they looked about, yeah, this is not what we thought. This is a really super place. It's clean, it's bright, it's attractive, it's dynamic and it's bustling. And then of course 1990, European City of Culture. And that was the one that probably most people would say put a real marker down that the city had rediscovered all that wonderful bullish confidence of Victorians.